Yes, good afternoon, guys. Today we want to look at what we call insider trading. And insider trading, this subject has dominated business headlines this week because one of the major investors in Nairobi Security Exchange, that's Kakuzi Limited, its directors are being investigated by Capital Market Authority for participating in insider trading and conflict of interest. And Kakuzi is one of the best performing companies in terms of value and in terms of paying of dividends in Nairobi Security Exchange. Currently, they are the second highest in terms of value because their value per share is now 425 Kenya shillings. It's the second highest, meaning that they are doing well. And if such investigations are being done, and maybe at some particular point they will be found guilty, it will affect their performance. I'm not saying that they will be found guilty, but if such investigations will lead to them being found on the wrong side of the law, the value might be affected in one way or the other. Now, for those people who does not know what is conflict of interest and what is insider trading, we can go deep and define what is it. When I talk of insider trading, is whereby a director or a manager or somebody who can access a privileged information use that information to purchase shares or sell shares to take advantage and make a lot of profit out of that. A good example of insider trading is whereby maybe there are two companies who want to merge, or there's a company who want to be acquired by the other one. Such action may lead to companies' prices going up in terms of value. So somebody can use that information before it reaches the public to buy a lot of shares for that company, so that when the mergers materialize, it will make a lot of profit. And remember that this information was not available to the public. So by the time the information is made available to the public, already has bought those shares. So we will not sell them until that merger or acquisition materialize. So it means that that person is going to benefit unfairly. So it's an unfair trading, and it is illegal and it's unethical. That's what we call insider trading. When I talk of conflict of interest is whereby an individual personal interest, such as finance, family, or social factor, could influence their professional judgment or decision making or action. So this is whereby your family or your friend or your own interests conflict with that one of the firm's interest. So when you are going to make a decision, you are not making a decision based on your professional competencies or your professional judgment, but out of what you are likely to gain out of such a process. A good example is whereby a manager or a HR manager want to hire a person, and because they have their relatives or their friends that they need to employ, they will not do a thorough interview or a fair interview to arrive at the right candidate. They will, their interest will lead them to hiring their relatives or their friends. So that's a conflict of interest. Or your friend or your company or your family members have a company in where you are one of those people who give tenders. So instead of looking at the qualifications and what is required to win that tender, you look at what you are going to gain. And so you are going to favor somebody who is a friend of yours or is your relative to do what? To get that tender. That is what we call conflict of interest. So both conflict of interest and insider trading are unethical. But sometimes insider trading is both ethical and illegal. But conflict of interest, some of them might not be illegal, but they are unethical, but some of them are both. A good example of conflict of interest case which has happened in Kenya and has been gone through all those judicial processes to conclusion is Kenol Kobil. Kenol Kobil have a conflict of interest which was proved by Capital Market Authority. The detail of the case is that between 2008 and 2012, while serving as a CEO and Lesser chairman, Jacob Segman used to have an indirect stake in Kobil through a company called Energy Resource Capital, ERS. He held 6% or 5.99% of that company, and that's because he had indirect interest in Kenol Kobil. So this one violated Capital Market Authority regulations, which require directors to disclose whether directly or indirectly the interest that they have in the companies that they are working for. But Segman and Kenol Kobil sealed this information, and this one led to what we call an insider trading, because it was trading secretly. It never disclosed to the public, and in 2008, Segman was found guilty and was charged 5 million Kenya shillings. And this firm also was found guilty of insider trading in 2018 again, when Kenol Kobil was being taken over by a French firm which is known as Vulues Energies. You know, as Vulues Energies everywhere. So it's a company which acquired Kenol Kobil. During that acquisition, there was insider trading. These directors, there were two directors there. One was called Ali Khan Sachu and Kuna Bid. They also bought shares in Kenol Kobil in anticipation that they are going to be acquired and the price is going to be high. And so when it was eventually acquired by Rubies, they gained a lot through insider trading. And they also found guilty and fined 477 million with that case of Kenol Kobil. So insider trading is something which is taking place in Kenya, and conflict of interest is also taking place in Kenya. Only that a few have been found guilty by Capital Market Authority, one of them being Kenol Kobil. Next week we look at insider trading and conflict of interest of Chase Bank. For now, you can like or ask questions about insider trading and conflict of interest. We'll even look at other jurisdiction whereby this thing is done, especially in USA.